Look, there is a game that has been lurking in the back of my mind for ages, but the only thing I could vaguely remember about it was this weird blue guy from the cover. And let's be honest, that cover goes crazy hard. So when I saw this comment under my black video and looked it up, I was so happy. I finally found it. And it's called Psi-Ops, the Mindgate Conspiracy, which also might be the longest title in video game history. And let me tell you, my instincts were absolutely right, because this game has everything. Telekinesis, mind control, impressive physics for the PS2, hilarious ragdolls, a cheesy early 2000s story, and just enough jank to make it even better. Except for a few moments where it almost made me throw my PC out the window. But hey, let's start from the beginning. The main reason I love the PS2 era so much is because it had so many ambitious and experimental games. And these are exactly the kinds of games I'm always looking for. Some weird mechanic, a unique atmosphere, a completely insane idea, anything that makes a game stand out. And let me tell you, Psi-Ops absolutely belongs on that list, because this game was crazy ambitious. A military conspiracy shooter with telekinesis, mind control, pyrokinesis, ridiculous ragdoll chaos, and the kind of freedom where the game just lets you do anything, and I mean that. And somehow, this was running on a PS2 back in 2004. The whole thing honestly feels like a combination of two games that I absolutely love, Messiah and Disruptor on the PS1. Check my videos on those, by the way. Oh, and apparently the game was inspired by actual declassified Cold War Psi research documents. Okay, maybe it's time to put my tinfoil hat back on. And frankly, I still don't understand how I missed this game back in the day, because I'm pretty sure if my 10-year-old self would saw this on a store shelf, I would have begged my parents to buy it instantly. I mean, this thing literally had "Your mind is the ultimate weapon" on the back cover. Damn. Psi-Ops was developed by one of my favorite studios, Midway Games. And man, I could easily make an entire video just talking about Midway. These guys published and developed some absolute bangers, like Mortal Kombat, Doom 64, Spy Hunter, The Suffering, Dr. Mudo, and just like so many legendary studios from that era, they eventually went bankrupt in 2009. Oh, sad. Although, at least they avoided being absorbed by Activision, so that's something, I guess. Psi-Ops came out in 2004 for the PS2 and Xbox. And unfortunately for Midway, 2004 was one of the most epic years in gaming history. Half-Life 2, San Andreas, Halo 2, Underground 2. Yeah, good luck competing with those guys. So their weird little psychic shooter basically got humiliated in terms of sales. And even though the critics loved it, the planned sequel was cancelled not long after. They also released a PC port a year later, and oh boy, we will talk about that disaster later. But still, I have to give Midway credit. They really tried everything to push this game. They even teamed up with the rock band Cold, I mean, that's their name, like Cold, for a full-on music video promotion. And yeah, if you're under 30, there is a pretty good chance you have absolutely no idea who that is. But I will forgive you. As always, with games like this, development was messy. It got delayed multiple times, features were cut, and honestly, this might be the first game on the channel where I can genuinely feel the unfinished potential everywhere. Sometimes it actually feels more like a tech demo than an actual game. But hey, why don't we check it out together? I'm gonna be honest, when I first saw that Psi-Ops has a PC version, I was genuinely excited. That means I don't have to mess around with the emulator setup, don't have to hunt down a PS2 copy, and it's abandonware too, which is just beautiful. So I grabbed the widescreen patch, launched the game, and surprisingly everything just worked. No crashes, no FPS drops, nothing. Well, except the in-game cutscenes looking like this.
Okay, so meet up at the supply room, wherever that is.
Yeah. And the normal cutscenes. But don't worry, I can fix that. Move it to the middle, add the nice background. Perfect. See? Much better. And trust me, you will appreciate that later on, because this game has an insane amount of cutscenes. And I'm not joking. Almost half of the game is literally just cutscenes. Crazy. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the main menu of Psi-Ops. Yeah, very basic. So, let's start a new game on normal, as usual, and unfortunately, no Joe Biden joke this time. Sorry.
I mean, it's just not,
The story begins at the Mindgate headquarters, a company specializing in psi abilities. We watch one of their best agents, Nick Scryer, getting his memory erased. And honestly, he kinda looks like me after biting into a lemon. Anyway, memory gone, brain scrambled, so Nick is now ready to be used by the US military. And he's immediately sent to fight a cult, a terrorist organization called the Movement. Wow, what a terrifyingly creative name. The Movement was founded by former Mindgate agents, and we even get to see one of their leaders here, Ozzy Osbourne himself. Sorry, bad joke. Rest in peace, Ozzy. And the second I heard the music during this scene, I instantly thought, dude, this has to be Jesper Kyd, right? But nope, it's Vincent Pontarelli. Never heard of him before, but the soundtrack absolutely slaps. So good job, Vincent. One more Movement boss shows up with the widest shoulders in human history and demonstrates what these guys can actually do. That's pretty sick. I could definitely use that in the morning traffic, not gonna lie. Of course, Nick gets captured and unwillingly joins the cult. The Movement. I keep mixing those up for some reason. We also meet the general, who is apparently wearing every medal ever created. Congratulations, sir, I guess. Nick tries to start a riot, but it goes about as well as you would expect.
Sanders!
And he immediately gets thrown into solitary. And this is where the real game finally begins. Woof! That intro cutscene was like 5 minutes. Thankfully, it seems like we've got some kind of mysterious guardian angel on the inside. She gives us a pistol and disappears. Okay, thanks, I guess. And finally, gameplay. Which immediately reveals that the PC port is not exactly great. The mouse look is inverted by default, weapon switching is on tab for some reason.
Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Jump and interact are on the same key, which caused many rage moments, and the audio randomly cuts out constantly. So yeah, if you can, definitely play the console version instead. Please! Anyway, we start sneaking through the prison, taking down guards with our silenced pistol, blowing up explosive barrels, hunting key cards, and I honestly felt like playing Freedom Fighters for a second. Watch my video on that, by the way. And before we go any further, I have to say, headshots with the silenced pistol is just super satisfying. I love it. Eventually, we meet Sarah again. Oh, yeah, that's her name, by the way. And after asking if we trust her...
You trust me, don't you?
I immediately said no, and it seems like I was right. Because she injects Nick with something, and we learn she's actually a double agent working inside the movement. But whatever she gave us seems to work, because Nick suddenly starts tripping. My head gone, bruh. And we get our first flashback. And this is basically how the game teaches us the Psi abilities. Every flashback throws us into Mindgate's training facility, where we can practice the new powers. And I'm not gonna lie, up until this point, I genuinely thought Psi-Ops was just gonna be another generic early 2000s shooter, where some badass guy with a buzz cut runs around shooting terrorists. But then this happened.
Pick up that guy and throw him against the wall a few times. His weapon will drop after he dies.
Come on, you have to admit, that is insanely cool for a PS2 game. Telekinesis, or TK, is basically the main ability in the game. We can grab enemies, barrels, explosives, weapons, random junk, basically anything that isn't nailed down. The training ends with a live combat situation, which was just peak. And before you start worrying about these people in the simulation not making it home to their families...
Let's use telekinesis to throw objects at live targets. Don't worry, these guys get well paid.
Oh, okay, I'm relieved, thank you. And from this point on, I started abusing TK constantly. I swear, this never gets old. And the ragdoll physics make everything 10 times funnier too. And ladies and gentlemen, this is where Psi-Ops becomes genuinely special. You can tell the developers intentionally filled up every room with objects, explosives, props, and environmental hazards just to encourage us to use TK. And I absolutely love that. Soon after, another flashback introduces us to remote viewing, or RV. Basically, an out-of-body ability that lets us scout ahead and move through closed doors. And I somehow messed up the training, but thankfully the instructor was very supportive about it.
You dumbass, Nick.
Wow. Thanks. Also, RV feels exactly like stumbling home after a 12-hour techno party. So yeah, I tried not to use it that much. Sometimes it's needed for puzzles or finding passwords, but the game also wants us to use it for stealth. Come on, nobody is sneaking in Psi-Ops. At this point, I still didn't know what was coming. And look, even though the instructor keeps insulting me, I feel like he might be my soulmate.
You did an excellent job, Nick. Now let's go get some lunch. I'm starving.
Eventually, we reach a giant silo, and Nick starts recovering fragments of his memory. He suddenly becomes obsessed with finding his old squad, even though Sarah specifically tells him not to. And once again, the game gives us a giant playground. Nope, still not getting old. This is also where I realized that Nick's jump animation looks exactly like San Andreas. I thought that might be interesting, but maybe it wasn't. And because I refuse to wait for the slowest elevator in human history, seriously, I'm not exaggerating, I tried taking a little shortcut. Bad idea. Soon after, we unlock another ability, Mind Drain. And honestly, this might be my favorite power, besides TK. If we use it on an unaware enemy, their head literally explodes.
Oh, that's gotta hurt!
Beautiful. It also restores a ton of Psi energy, so basically it's a win-win situation. Well, unless you are the guy whose skull just blew up. But trust me, these enemies deserve it. Oh buddy, I'm coming back for you. We eventually find Nick's old squadmate, except his brain has already been completely washed by the movement. Oh, Sanders, no need to lose your head. Man, I really need to stop with these dad jokes. Soon after, we discover the horrible experiments the movement has been doing here. Ew, gross. Thankfully, there is also a giant industrial furnace in the room, and you already know exactly what that means. We eventually need to access the mainframe, but thankfully it's easy enough to steal the password from Ozzy's office using RV. Oh, sorry, his real name is Jov Leonov. God. And apparently he just keeps the password permanently open on his computer screen. Very secure, Jov. And I have to say, I really appreciate that the game actually makes us use the powers for progression. Using TK to build platforms, using RV to spy on passwords. It's simple, but it adds a lot. Eventually, we finally meet Leonov face to face. And it turns out he's actually blind.
They even see.
He literally sees through the minds of his soldiers, although calling them puppets probably isn't great for workplace morale.
Like good little puppets.
This leads into the first boss fight, and it's actually pretty fun. At first, I tried throwing objects at him, but the real objective is destroying the pods spawning enemies around the arena, and then beating the hell out of him too, obviously. Honestly, boss fights in this game go surprisingly hard. The music always kicks in. There are little mechanics to keep things interesting, and the whole thing feels chaotic, but in a good way. After smashing him in the face with enough boxes, he finally goes down.
What?
But unfortunately, we don't really have time to celebrate, because the entire facility starts collapsing. And this was the moment Psi-Ops genuinely pissed me off for the first time. The escape sequence itself is cool. The place is crumbling, small earthquakes, but then a random piece of debris fell from the ceiling directly onto my head, and of course, instantly killed me. Classic trial and error. I truly hate it. So I reload the checkpoint, and of course I have to replay the last 3 minutes again. Oh boy. Guys, we really don't hate checkpoints enough. Eventually we escape, almost catch the general, who somehow still can't aim properly despite wearing 600 medals. And Sarah shows up once again to save the day. Next up, a shipyard, where another movement base is waiting for us. Even though we land a helicopter in the middle of enemy territory, Sarah immediately tells us we should keep a low profile.
Okay, Nick. Keep a low profile.
Yeah, I will try. We also spot the big evil guy carrying some mysterious container labeled Luna 1. Ooh, that sounds important. Oh, and the genuine question. What suit size does this guy wear? XXXXL? Sorry. No fat shaming. We get a short stealth section here too, and this is where I realized my biggest problem with stealth in Psi-Ops. The combat is just way too fun. Why would I sneak around carefully when I can throw a man across the courtyard using my mind? Also, I completely suck at stealth games anyway. So that probably doesn't help. Eventually, we meet up with Sarah again and learn that the entire movement was founded by former Mindgate agents, including the giant mountain of a man we saw earlier, Barrett. And apparently, the general himself doesn't even have psychic powers.
He never had any of his own psi powers. He simply used Mindgate's agents as his pawns.
Oh, okay. So he's basically a corporate manager. Got it. Soon after, Nick gets another flashback and unlocks what might actually be my favorite ability in the entire game.
Get ready for your training in mind control that I may refer to as MC.
Okay, wait, this is like my third favorite now. I just can't decide anymore. This thing is awesome in all caps. We can take control of almost any enemy in the game and do whatever we want with them. Shoot their allies, jump off ledges, run into explosives. The possibilities are endless. And every time those ragdoll physics kicked in, it genuinely felt like I was playing GTA 4 again. Man, this is just hilarious. Seriously, I still can't believe this was running on a PS2. Soon after, we finally reach Barrett's office. And naturally, Sarah is already waiting for us. We crack open the safe and finally discover what Luna 1 actually is.
They're looking for this, aren't they?
Luna 1?
Oh, okay. That's it? As someone who owns a rabbit, I know exactly what that is. Also, Barrett has a very interesting taste in interior design. After that, we blast through the docks, mind-controlling guards, throwing enemies into the sea, causing absolute chaos, and I'm sorry, but I have to demonstrate how clunky the controls can be. I tried picking up a sniper rifle, and this happened. Amazing. This is also where I realized the game actually has secret collectibles, little garden gnomes hidden throughout the missions that unlock extra levels. Why gnomes? I have absolutely no idea, but I respect it. After solving a pretty cool puzzle section, we sneak into a warehouse and overhear the general and Barrett arguing. Turns out Luna 1 is supposed to help the general finally gain psychic powers, and he wants Barrett to get it back immediately.
Get it done, or your bloated corpse will find its way to the trash heap as well.
Jesus Christ, and I thought my boss was bad. Before entering the next area, Sarah suddenly stops us and starts acting extremely suspicious. She tells Nick to hand over Luna 1 so she can take care of it.
He's looking for you. I think you should leave Luna 1 with me, Nick. I mean, what if he captures you?
And because she touches his arm for 3 seconds, Nick immediately agrees.
Yeah, I know. You never told me Barrett was my old partner.
Really?
Nick, please, can you start thinking with your brain, please? Next up, the factory. And honestly, this might be my favorite level in the entire game. The whole place is packed with industrial machinery, pressure crushers, welders, conveyor belts, which means we can weaponize basically everything. I can't even describe how fun this is. Unfortunately, this is also where the checkpoint system completely screwed me again. I accidentally reached a checkpoint with basically 1 HP left.
Ooh, that's kind of small.
And no matter what I tried, I physically couldn't survive the next fight.
Hello.
So naturally, I had to replay the entire section again. Thank you. Eventually, we confront Barrett face to face, and surprise, surprise, Sarah betrays us.
Sorry, Scryer. Looks like you trusted the wrong girl.
Wow. Totally didn't see that coming. And this boss fight is genuinely incredible. Barrett starts throwing entire shipping containers, trains, crates, whatever you can imagine. The whole thing feels so epic, like fighting a supervillain in a Spider-Man movie or something. And I'm not kidding, my hands were actually sweating during the fight. Of course, Barrett survives, because apparently nobody in this game knows how to die.
I would love to stay and play, Nick, but I have business elsewhere.
And he escapes in a plane, which looks suspiciously similar to the Hydra from San Andreas. Hold on, do I still remember the cheat code for that? Was it Jump Jet? Oh, hell yeah. Core memory, bro. We end up chasing Barrett in a helicopter and suddenly receive a mysterious radio transmission from someone claiming they want to help us.
I've been monitoring your progress, Agent Scryer. I'm sending you the coordinates of the compound now.
Turns out the movement headquarters is hidden behind a giant illusion barrier.
What is this?
You just passed through an illusion barrier.
Okay, that's actually awesome. Unfortunately, the second we land, another voice starts talking to us, and this one sounds way less friendly.
I know what you've done.
And this is where I finally understood why stealth exists in Psi-Ops. Because the movement HQ is absolutely brutal. The game suddenly cranks the difficulty to insane levels. Turrets everywhere, security cameras, elite enemies resistant to TK, who look like sharks for some reason. So yeah, prepare to die here a lot. But hey, at least the movement enjoys elevator music too. Can I just stay here, please? Oh, and apparently Nick is so strong, he can literally kick statues across the room. Damn, that's impressive. Soon, we meet the mysterious woman from the radio. Her name is Kimiko, and she's actually really happy we arrived.
I'm glad you've come.
Do not come.
Turns out she's the one who originally discovered Luna 1. And once she realized the movement wanted to use it for evil, she tried to escape. But now they are basically keeping her hostage. Oof, that's tough. She also gives us a Bose QC earbud so we can stay in contact. Not sponsored, by the way, but if someone from Bose is watching, you know what to do. We also learn that the creepy voice in our head belongs to Wei Lu, one of the movement's strongest Psi agents, and she's very much not on our side. So much that she traps Nick inside something called the Labyrinth of Illusions. And oh my god, this section broke my brain. Fake walls, hidden paths, doors appearing and disappearing, constant hallucinations.
Come on, we need to do a little dirty work for the general.
I genuinely loved and hated this section at the same time. And I'm pretty sure Control took inspiration from this for the ashtray maze. Eventually, the maze leads into a cemetery section where Nick basically fights manifestations of his own guilt. Now this was amazing. Trying to push these zombies back while Wei Lu tries to get in our head, and somehow this place gave me strong medieval vibes, which is always a good sign, I guess. We also unlock pyrokinesis, or PK, and no, for my fellow software engineers, that's not primary key. This ability is basically pure offense. We can throw fireballs as long as we have psi energy, and the craziest part is that fire actually spreads dynamically. Dude, this was 2004 on the PS2. That's insane. Also, I feel genuinely bad for this guy.
I don't get paid enough for this.
Oh, by the way, the whole headquarters also has this really cool Chinese-inspired aesthetic. Lanterns, bamboo gardens, stone lion statues. Dude, the art direction in this game is really underrated, I'm not gonna lie. Naturally, the final boss of this section is Wei Lu herself. And I swear, this feels more like a Dark Souls boss fight than a 2004 PS2 shooter. Giant stone statues keep charging at us, and we have to heat them up using PK while desperately trying not to get flattened. And trust me, these things hit hard. Once we finally survive that phase, Wei Lu transforms into something. Ugh. Gross. And this somehow made the fight even more like Dark Souls. I was getting serious Asylum Demon flashbacks here. Just look at that fat ass. In the final phase, we basically have to cut her tentacles off, which means smashing the same cube at her over and over again.
I saw what you cannot remember. You have the power to stop the general.
And ladies and gentlemen, this marks the end of the best part of Psi-Ops, because from here on, it becomes frustration. First, we go through a section with this giant rotating light beam, and if it touches us, we die instantly. This actually took me a solid 20 minutes to figure out which NPC to mind control, in what order, where to move, but honestly, I will give the game this one. It was pretty cool. Now, after surviving this entire section, full of firefights, puzzles, and pure suffering, my game just crashed. Oh, it crashed. And this is where Psi-Ops put the checkpoint system to a whole new level, because as it turns out, checkpoints only stay in memory. So if we quit the game or restart it without manually pressing save checkpoint in the menu, they are gone. So yeah, replay the whole level again, the stupid light beam, the million soldiers, and I swear I was slowly using my mind. So I had to do something that I'm not proud of. I downloaded cheats from a sketchy site with dancing ladies on my screen, so naturally I got the most suspicious trainer imaginable with Arabic text all over it, but then I realized my keyboard doesn't even have a numpad, so I had to download a numpad emulator too. God, what am I doing with my life? Anyway, thankfully it worked. I ran through the whole section again, and shortly after we learned that Sarah never actually betrayed us. It was actually, dramatic pause, her twin sister.
You gave it back to this maniac?
What are you talking about? Why would I do that?
Oh my god. This story is starting to feel like a Turkish soap opera. Next, we fight one of the general's elite agents after this absolutely unhinged cutscene. And honestly, once again, pretty cool boss fight. She sends massive waves of fire at us while we hide behind these safety barriers.
All personnel to safe
Love it. But naturally, the general escapes again. According to Sarah, he's heading for his base in the Himalayas. And this got me excited. We get a nice change of scenery. A giant Buddhist temple, massive mountains in the background, ancient interiors. Yeah, this sounded awesome. But unfortunately, the game introduces a new mechanic here. Aura View, or AV, which basically lets Nick see things existing on another plane, or something like that. And yes, I think you know where this is going. Invisible enemies. Here we go again. Okay, look, maybe I'm stupid, but I genuinely had no idea how to properly deal with these guys. So my strategy became activate them, shoot like a maniac, and pray for more ammo. Rinse and repeat. And since ammo is already quite limited in this game, this became super fun. No, it was awful. Seriously, who thought this was a good idea? It feels completely out of place and just turns the gameplay into suffering. We also get haunted by another Psi agent here, which leads to some absolutely ridiculous cutscenes.
Scryer's gone. It's my body now.
And I have to say, this is where my relationship with Psi-Ops became complicated. On one hand, I loved the setting, the atmosphere, the sound design, the puzzles. I mean, seriously, just listen to this stuff. But on the other hand, the game can feel brutally unfair sometimes. Eventually, we fight the insane psychic guy haunting us, and when I say insane, I mean he's actually insane.
I'll enjoy ripping out your soul and using your body to take the monolith for myself.
You're insane.
Since this whole section is a complete roller coaster, the boss fight was awful too. But I will spare you the details. In the end, his own creatures eat him alive, and thankfully we can finally move on. Oh, and fun fact, if we check his body using the free camera mode, we can see Wei Lu in there, not sure why. And look, I'm not even gonna waste your time explaining every rage-inducing moments after this. The invisible mines, the rocket launcher enemies, running around with zero ammo and no psi energy, more invisible mines, clenching my butthole trying not to touch them. And when I thought the game would finally give me some supplies, nope, caved in, it's gone. I will say though, the final area looks awesome. I honestly felt like being in an Alien movie. Love it. Soon we reach the General and Barrett again. The evil twin finally dies, and Sarah delivers the most badass one-liner in the entire game.
Mom always did like me best. Bitch.
And after Barrett finishes doing all the dirty work for the General, he gets betrayed too.
True power is not meant to be shared.
What a lovely work environment. The final boss fight against the General is actually pretty awesome. Aiming these giant energy balls is a little awkward, but honestly, it's still really fun. And once again, the music absolutely slaps. Thanks, Vincent. I will keep you in mind. Eventually, he goes down, or more accurately, gets sucked into a giant hole. One more sentence I thought I would never say. Sarah survives, we secure Luna 1, and then someone attacks Sarah and Nick. And wait. What? To be continued? Oh, come on! I suffered through all of that for a cliffhanger? Are you kidding me? You stupid what? And now, the big question. What do I think? I have a really hard time with Psi-Ops, because one side of me wants to call it an absolute banger. A game that pushed the PS2 to its limits, a short but insanely memorable shooter full of creative ideas, and honestly, I wouldn't even be lying, because for like 80% of the game, that's exactly what Psi-Ops is. The Psi powers are just awesome, setting enemies on fire, throwing people into walls, watching ragdolls completely lose their minds. I genuinely spent hours just messing around with the abilities and trying to do increasingly stupid things. And I think that's where the game really shines. It feels like the developers just handed you a giant sandbox and said, "Alright dude, go have fun." And I love that. But the problem is, there is another side to Psi-Ops that keeps pulling you down from that high. The frustrating mechanics in the final levels, the unfair difficulty spikes, the clunky controls, the awful checkpoint system, those are things we really can't ignore. And what makes it even more frustrating is that you can feel the missed potential everywhere. If Midway had more time, more resources, or maybe just a little more focus, this could have become one of the defining PS2 shooters, a genuine classic. Instead, parts of it feels like an insanely ambitious tech demo that never become the masterpiece it could have been. Still though, I'm really glad I finally played it, because even with all the frustration, Psi-Ops did something that a lot of modern games don't. Tried something new. And I will always respect games that actually try something unique. And honestly, now I really wanna try Second Sight too. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts on Psi-Ops. And if you like this kind of content, please consider dropping a like, subscribing, or telling me what you think in the comments. We also have Patreon and YouTube memberships if you would like to support the channel even more. I would like to say a huge thank you to all the members. Don't forget to join our Discord if you want to have a chat or play some games with us. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye!